The starship Eclipse drifted silently through the void of space, its sleek metallic hull reflecting the faint light of a distant sun. On board, Captain Alina Reyes stood at the helm, her sharp eyes scanning the endless expanse. The crew of 12, a mix of seasoned astronauts and brilliant scientists, had been on a mission to explore uncharted territories. But what they found was beyond anything they had imagined: a distress signal. The ship's sensors picked up a faint signal, barely audible over the static of space. It was a distress call, but unlike anything they had ever encountered. The language was alien, the tones melodic yet urgent. Alina's heart raced as she ordered the crew to trace the signal's origin. The coordinates led them to a small, uncharted planet on the edge of a dying star system. First contact. As the Eclipse descended through the planet's atmosphere, the crew was met with a breathtaking sight. The surface was a lush, vibrant jungle, teeming with life. Towering trees with bioluminescent leaves stretched toward the sky, and strange creatures flitted through the underbrush. But what caught their attention was the source of the distress signal, a massive, ancient structure half buried in the jungle. Its design was unlike anything human technology had ever produced. The encounter. Alina led a small team to investigate. As they approached the structure, they were met by a group of alien beings. Tall and slender, with skin that shimmered like liquid silver, they moved with an otherworldly grace. Their leader, a female with piercing violet eyes, stepped forward. She spoke in a language that sounded like a symphony, but the universal translator on Alina's suit quickly decoded her words. "We are the last of the Zenari," the alien said. "Our world is dying, and we need your help." A dangerous alliance. The Zenari explained that their planet was being consumed by a mysterious energy force, one that threatened to destroy not only their world but the entire star system. They had been searching for a species capable of understanding their technology, and humanity's arrival was their last hope. But as Alina and her crew delved deeper into the Zenari's secrets, they realized that the danger was far greater than they had anticipated. The energy force was not natural. It was a weapon, created by an ancient enemy of the Zenari, one that had returned to finish what it had started. The weight of responsibility. Alina knew that helping the Zenari would put her crew in grave danger, but she also knew that if they didn't act, the consequences could be catastrophic. As she looked into the eyes of the Zenari leader, she saw not just desperation, but hope. Humanity had always been a species of explorers, of problem solvers. This was their chance to prove that they were more than just survivors. They were protectors. "Tell us what we need to do," Alina said, her voice steady. "We'll help you stop this threat." The Zenari leader nodded, a flicker of gratitude in her violet eyes. "Then we must act quickly. The enemy is already here." The Zenari led Alina and her team deep into the heart of their ancient structure. The walls were covered in intricate carvings, depicting a history that spanned millennia. The Zenari explained that their civilization had once been a dominant force in the galaxy, but their arrogance had led to their downfall. They had created a weapon capable of harnessing the energy of stars, but it had fallen into the hands of their enemies, the Krylos. The Krylos threat. The Krylos were a ruthless species, driven by a desire for power and destruction. They had used the Zenari's weapon to lay waste to entire star systems, leaving nothing but ash in their wake. The Zenari had managed to hide their world for centuries, but now the Krylos had found them. The energy force consuming the planet was the first sign of their return. A race against time. Alina and her crew worked tirelessly with the Zenari to understand the weapon and how to stop it. The Zenari's technology was far beyond anything humanity had ever seen, but the crew's ingenuity and determination allowed them to make progress. They discovered that the weapon was powered by a series of energy cores, each one capable of sustaining the destructive force for centuries. If they could deactivate the cores, they could stop the weapon. The first core. The team set out to locate the first core, deep within the jungle. The journey was fraught with danger, as the Krylos had sent their own forces to protect the weapon. The crew encountered strange, biomechanical creatures that seemed to be a fusion of organic and mechanical parts. They were relentless, attacking without warning and disappearing just as quickly. A costly victory. After a grueling battle, the team managed to reach the first core. Using a combination of Zenari technology and human ingenuity, they deactivated it. But the victory came at a cost. One of Alina's crew members, Dr. Marcus Lee, was gravely injured in the fight. As they carried him back to the Eclipse, Alina couldn't shake the feeling that they were running out of time. The Krylos strike back. As the team prepared to locate the next core, the Krylos launched a full-scale attack on the Zenari structure. The sky was filled with their ships, dark and menacing, raining down destruction. Alina knew that they couldn't afford to lose the Zenari's knowledge or their trust. She ordered the crew to defend the structure at all costs, even as the Krylos closed in. The Krylos attack was relentless. Their ships bombarded the Zenari structure, while their ground forces advanced through the jungle. Alina and her crew fought alongside the Zenari, using every weapon and tactic at their disposal. But the Krylos were unlike any enemy they had ever faced. Their technology was advanced, their soldiers seemingly unstoppable. A desperate plan. As the battle raged on, Alina realized that they couldn't win through force alone. They needed to outsmart the Krylos. She proposed a risky plan, to use the Zenari's technology to create a diversion, drawing the Krylos away from the structure while the team located and deactivated the remaining energy cores. The diversion. The Zenari agreed to the plan, and together they created a massive energy pulse that mimicked the weapon's signature. The Krylos, thinking that the weapon was about to activate, redirected their forces to the source of the pulse. This gave Alina and her team the opportunity they needed to move deeper into the jungle. The second core. The journey to the second core was even more perilous than the first. The jungle was alive with danger, from predatory creatures to treacherous terrain. But the team pressed on, driven by the knowledge that failure was not an option. When they finally reached the core, they found it heavily guarded by Krylos forces. A fierce battle. The fight to deactivate the second core was brutal. The Krylos soldiers were more numerous and better armed than before. Alina and her team fought with everything they had, but they were outmatched. Just as it seemed that all hope was lost, the Zenari arrived with reinforcements. Together, they managed to deactivate the core, but the cost was high. Several Zenari warriors were lost, and the team was left battered and exhausted. The Krylos' true plan. As the team regrouped, they discovered a chilling truth. The Krylos weren't just trying to destroy the Zenari. They were planning to use the weapon to wipe out all life in the galaxy. The energy cores were just the beginning. If they didn't stop the Krylos soon, there would be no galaxy left to save. With 2 cores deactivated, the team turned their attention to the final core. But the Krylos were one step ahead. They had fortified the core's location, turning it into a fortress. Alina knew that this would be their most dangerous mission yet, but she also knew that they had no choice. The fate of the galaxy depended on their success. The fortress. The final core was located in a massive, heavily guarded complex deep within the jungle. The Krylos had surrounded it with energy shields and automated defenses, making it nearly impossible to approach. But Alina and her team were determined. They spent hours studying the complex, looking for any weakness they could exploit. The infiltration. Using a combination of stealth and Zenari technology, the team managed to infiltrate the complex. They moved silently through the corridors, avoiding detection as they made their way to the core. But the Krylos were waiting for them. As they reached the core chamber, they were ambushed by a squad of elite Krylos soldiers. The final battle. The fight that followed was the most intense of their mission. The Krylos soldiers were faster, stronger, and more skilled than any they had faced before. But Alina and her team fought with everything they had, driven by the knowledge that the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. One by one, the Krylos fell, until only the team remained. The core's deactivation. With the Krylos defeated, the team turned their attention to the core. Using the knowledge they had gained from the Zenari, they managed to deactivate it just as the weapon was about to reach critical mass. The energy force that had been consuming the planet began to dissipate, and the jungle slowly returned to its natural state. A new alliance. As the team emerged from the complex, they were met by the Zenari leader. She thanked them for their bravery and offered them a place among the Zenari as honored allies. Alina knew that this was just the beginning of a new chapter for humanity, one where they would stand alongside the Zenari as protectors of the galaxy.